So, special moment here. We've got Gary Wolstenholme here on the channel. He's been playing today, and you can look up Gary, but he's England's #1 amateur of all time, and played in the Masters, and last person to beat Tiger Woods. I won't go on.
Call in South Wales was the setting for the matches in 1995. Tiger Woods, representing his country for the last time as an amateur, was beaten by Gary Wolstenholme in the first day's singles. A rare scalp indeed.
Anyway, but and also we were once on the same county side many years ago, which I remember more than Gary does. But so you've been playing here today?
Yes.
And so when did you start on this tour?
2010. You know, it's funny because I played amateur golf up until I was 48.
Yes.
So I was playing for England and for Great Britain and all that. And then all of a sudden, they basically said they were going to concentrate on the under-25s.
Right.
So my coach at the time sort of said, well, what are you going to do? Assuming I would just say, oh, I'm turning professional. And I said, well, I'm not really sure. And so anyway, he said, well, you'd be mad not to have a go. You're still playing really well. In fact, my last amateur tournament was at the Lee Westwood Trophy at Rotherham, which I won with 4 rounds in the 60s. So I was obviously still playing well.
Yeah.
So I had to make a decision, so that was it. Basically, I moved back home up to the Lake District, or to Heysham actually, Morecambe Bay, and started working hard on preparing myself for the senior tour, or the opportunity to have a go on the senior tour.
Yeah.
Now, as a full-time amateur for my entire career,
Yeah.
that was always going to be very difficult, because you never had the opportunity of all-time money to be able to fall back on, and that sort of thing. And so there was you know, quite a decision to have to make financially, because, you know, turning professional, you only get paid on performance.
Yeah.
And although I knew a lot about golf, I didn't know an awful lot about the lower tour opportunities, you know, the Euro Pro and Challenge Tour and all that sort of thing. And even the local PGA events. What could I play in, what couldn't I play in?
Because your father was a very famous...
He turned pro when he was 30, and actually was a pro for 20 years.
Right.
And actually, you know, without sort of setting the house on fire, was reasonably successful.
Yeah.
But he emigrated to Australia and based himself out in Melbourne. And obviously my mum and I were left in England. But you know, the fact is that he'd said to me, I don't want you to turn professional, knowing how hard it is to make a living.
Yeah.
But
did that drive you even more? Did you think?
I respected his wishes up until obviously I got forced into having to make a decision. Anyway, in the sort of 2008-2009 season, I sort of bumbled along, played a few Euro Pro events and a couple of mini tour things that are set up independently. And then in 2010 really took the bull by the horns and played full-time on the Euro Pro Tour.
Right.
And I was very fortunate to win a tournament at Stoke-by-Nayland. Okay. And that proved to me that I was still able to win, particularly at pro level, because I was competing against the kids.
Yeah, and they're seriously young.
And they're really good, these kids, they really are. Anyway, so I then had a management company, Champions UK, and they said, right, well, what we'll do is we'll see if we can get you an invite. And very fortunately, the week after I got to 50, I got an opportunity to play at Woburn in the Travis Perkins, and we asked whether there was any possibility of getting any more invites that year. They said no, you're only going to be allowed to have one invite. So, you know, I turned up and played really well. Finished tied 3rd.
Right.
Now, by doing that, that automatically gets me into the next event.
Oh, okay. So what is the top 10 or something? What is the next event?
Well, it used to be top 10. Now it's top 5.
Oh, wow.
So top 5 is tough.
Yeah.
But of course, you know, what you've got to remember is they've reduced the field size from 72 when I first started to 54 now.
Right. Yeah.
And that makes it incredibly difficult to be successful and stay on the tour.
Sure. Yeah.
because obviously the standard is getting higher, as we've already discussed.
Yeah.
But also the situation where you've got all-time money guys against the Order of Merit. Well, the Order of Merit, you might get maybe 20 odd guys that are guaranteed to play.
Yeah.
And then on the all-time money, 20 odd guys come off that. Well, for 54, there's not many left.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, as I say, I finished tied third at Woburn, and then that got me into the event 2 weeks later in Czech Republic, and unexpectedly, I won the tournament.
Oh, wow.
I beat Gordon Brand Jr. by a couple of shots.
Wow, fantastic.
And that automatically then gave me a 2-year exemption.
Fantastic.
In those days. Now a win only gives you 1 year exemption.
Wow.
So again, it shows you how
Really
hard it's
tough,
become.
yeah.
But that then, I've never looked back since, really. I mean, 2 years ago I had a bad run, lost my card, then got it back again.
Did you? So how would you get it back to the school?
Well, I went to tour school, but I was my ranking at the time wasn't good enough to be certain.
Right.
But in the events that I did get in, I then did well enough to guarantee my card again for last year.
Sure.
And the weather last year was so poor, unfortunately I struggled. But I'm now in this same situation. I was 34th on the Order of Merit last year, which sounds great. Yeah. But actually it's not good enough to guarantee every event.
Wow, okay.
So this year I haven't been able to play in 4 events, and I'm 36th on the Order of Merit.
Right.
So I now need to have a good finish.
A little bit, yeah.
If I can get a good finish, then maybe I can get back into the top 30. If I get him back into the top 30, then that will pretty much say I'm going to get every event. But I've really enjoyed it. I mean, it's a great opportunity to be able to play competitively, which I really enjoy.
Of course, yeah. And Staysure has done a great...
without Staysure, this tour would not be where it is right now.
It's really going well.
David McLaren, who's the CEO of our senior tour, would admit that quite openly, and we've been incredibly fortunate that at Staysure have stepped in, put some sponsorship in, created a tournament for us, and just raised the whole profile of our tour. And
it's something that people should come and see. I was saying earlier, it's really great for people to come out and see people that, it's nice to go and watch Rory McIlroy, but they're so fit and agile, you're never going to learn much from that, whereas when you come out here, at least you can see somebody that's probably not at their physical peak, but still getting around a golf course in an incredible...
Well, I think what I would probably describe it as a way that you can relate more to the golf game that the seniors are playing. Yeah. That they hit it a similar distance, maybe a little bit further, maybe a bit not so far, but you learn how then to get round the golf course in a way that's more realistic. I hate to say this, you watch these guys on the Ryder Cup and they're all driving the ball 350 yards and maybe more than that on occasion. There are very few amateurs that can genuinely relate to that, apart from the very top ones.
Absolutely.
So to my mind, yes. Come and watch us play. I mean, you would get an awful lot out of it, because you actually see how you plot it round and what sort of clubs they're using, and you can get up close and very personal with any of the players.
And it's free tickets to get in here.
Well,
I think
that's
it was
great.
£60 or something to get into the British Masters next week. I mean, and when you've got a family, there's 4 of you,
it's expensive.
200 quid.
But of course, you want to see the top stars, of course. I understand that, but I think you can get an awful lot out of watching our tour. And the other thing is, we're all good friends.
Yeah, it's a good vibe, isn't it?
And they call it the friendly tour, and I would say probably it's the friendliest tour of any in the world.
Okay, so nitty gritty. So you're older.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Do you end up in the gym a bit more, or you?
I wouldn't say
Is
more.
there things that you try and do, to keep yourself with it?
It's flexibility that's the key thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, strength and conditioning is probably the best way to describe it, but you do have to think very hard about how to maximise your game.
Sure.
And that
which is relevant for everybody, to be honest.
Well, you lose your flexibility from age 6 onwards.
Oh, wow.
So everybody should be working on flexibility for later life. I mean, you don't want to be struggling to get upstairs or go for a walk or anything else. So the sooner you start getting into that, and also it's what you eat and what you drink. We've come from probably a time when people didn't think so much about, we have a few beers and then we go out and play the next day. You'd be interested to know that there's an awful lot less of that happening now than ever before. Sure. People are much more health conscious.
And
to my mind, I think we are becoming incredibly more professional because there's less money and there's less opportunity, so everyone has to play better. Everyone raises the bar, and
it's bunched up so much now as well, isn't
absolutely. I mean, in particular, you get someone like Phil Price and Stephen Dodd, and they've inspired the next crop of youngsters, which is Paul Streeter and David Shatlady, who've now come on. They've done well, and now we're all looking at it and going, well, do you know what? Maybe we've got to raise our game.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like an early Tiger factor happening again.
Absolutely.
So it's a wave, isn't it?
But the great thing about it is you look at the leaderboard and there's quite a few guys under par, and you've seen some amazing golf on what is actually a proper tour venue here at the Forest of Arden.
Yeah.
And we've got a number of other golf courses which are proper tour venues. I mean, we played at Paris National, where they played the Ryder Cup the last 3 years. So we've played proper venues. And next week we're at the Boule, which is in Paris as well. So again, a famous old French course, which is going to be great. So the opportunity to play these golf courses, it sets a standard. And as you say, it's free to get in. So of course, it's encouraging people to come and watch. And I think that our players look at the spectators and they give them golf balls and they say thank you, and they're much more polite and they want to play pro-ams. I mean, the Alliance format, which is one amateur, one pro in a 4-ball, so you've got 2 amateurs, 2 pros. And so anybody can come and play on the same course and play with some very top players. I mean, I've just seen Thomas Lovey there. Yeah. These are all ex-tour winners.
Yeah, legends everywhere. Well, including yourself.
Des Smith. And, just really great players
coming
like
from
him.
Barry Lane.
Absolutely, Barry Lane. You've got a whole bunch of guys. Ian Woosnam, obviously.
And they have done it, and it's great for people to come here and walk the same fairways as these guys that really have played seriously
completely.
Good golf,
but you then start to realise just how good these guys are. I've had
it's almost like if you take some yardage out and a bit of skill and a bit of flexibility, you just see how these guys are still good.
Yes,
they're still maintaining that strike, and
we're playing not far off similar tees to what the guys would be playing when I played in the British Masters here years ago. It's pretty much the same golf course. And the greens are running at 13.5, which they weren't when I played last time.
Seriously.
So it's a genuine test. So and the scoring, as I say, is decent. So,
and are you still doing some commentary?
I'd like to do more if I could at the moment, because I'm sort of on the cusp of keeping my card. I want to have to concentrate on that side of it. So it's very hard to commit to the likes of Sky or BBC or whatever to be able to do commentary, and I really enjoy doing it. I feel as though my opinion is as valid as anyone else's, and I've got, I believe, the ability to be able to put it across.
He speaks well, doesn't he? Some golfers we talk to, it's nothing. It's like,
Well, normally I'm a little bit like Paul McGinley. Once you get me started, I just go and go and go. But I'd like to do more, but unfortunately, a lot of the guys at Sky perceive me as being an amateur. And yet my knowledge of the game is, I've been playing the game for 54 years. I've learnt a lot.
And there's not many people who've taken Tiger out. Come on.
Well, it seems to be a lot more nowadays.
One-on-one, he's coming back though.
That was great for me. It'll be on my tombstone, there's no doubt. I mean, the man beat Tiger and everything else. But
remember watching it, the 18th.
I
remember
right.
like yesterday.
Fourth call back in 1995, and within 18 months, he just won the US Masters by 12 shots. So, I got a lot of notoriety for that, and I'm very lucky to be given that opportunity.
No, it's fantastic. Well, we've taken a load of your time already.
No, that's fine.
Thanks very much, Gary Wolstenholme. It's an honour to have him on the channel. And if you come along to any of these events and you see Gary, come and say hi. He's very approachable.
Thanks a lot.